A séance has been held in the great house of Collinwood, a séance which has suspended time and space and sent one girl on an uncertain and frightening journey into the past, back to the year 1795, where now, branded as a witch, she is a fugitive from the law. Hunted, forced from her hiding place, she runs with a child whose life she has saved, but who is still marked for death.
There's no one here. I told you I could get you in.
Daniel, if by any chance Mrs. Collins isn't at home.
She's here. Don't worry, I won't tell anyone else.
Especially Nathan.
I don't tell him anything.
Daniel, I don't want you ever to be alone with him. I don't want you ever to spend any time with him, ever. I know that's hard for you to understand, but...
I understand. Everyone's asleep now anyway.
No. There's lights in the foyer. I hope that Nathan was out hunting for you.
Well, I'll go get my cousin. She'll be in her room. And after I leave, lock the door, and I'll come back and knock 3 times. What's the matter?
I didn't realize how long Peter'd been away.
Well, I'll get my cousin.
Children are up at all hours, aren't they? How dreadful. Who has kept you up this late?
No one.
Someone has.
No.
I don't believe you. Who was in that room with you? Who were you talking to? Who? Very well. I know my duty. I shall see for myself.
Millicent!
If you will not tell me who you talked to this late, I shall find out.
I was talking to myself.
Oh, dear. And I've told Nathan you are quite perfect. Now I shall have to admit that it's
Don't
not
tell
true.
him anything.
I will. I would tell him everything. If he were ever at home. I would not treat anyone the way you all treat me. Even you. You are not the little boy I brought here. You are too big. Something has happened to the little boy I brought here.
Millicent! Daniel! You're back! You're safe!
You spoil him.
Oh, are you all right? Where did you go?
Go? He went somewhere, and I didn't know about it.
Millicent, dear, we didn't want to worry you.
Nathan says you always say that when you want your own way.
If Nathan said that, he's wrong.
I don't believe you, cousin. You do lie to me. It is a well-known fact. You are constantly telling me that Barnabas is not back.
Because he isn't back, Millicent.
Nathan says you are trying to drive me mad. And he's right. I will not listen to you. Ever.
Millicent.
No,
But Daniel, it's not true.
I know it isn't. Don't go to her now.
Why?
Miss Winters. I've brought her back.
Where is she?
In the study.
Victoria.
Mrs. Collins.
Oh, your arm.
It's all right. Mrs. Collins, I didn't want to come here. You've already done enough for me.
Victoria, I told Mr. Bradford to bring you here.
You did when?
Oh, at least 2 hours ago. Didn't he reach you? Well, I'm sure he's all right.
I know he's been caught.
Nonsense.
I've got to leave here before I get you into more trouble. Trouble you don't even know about.
You will not leave here. You will stay. Mr. Bradford will come back, I'm sure. And when he does, we can hide him too. And when Mr. Collins returns from Boston, we'll get you both on the first ship that gets away from here. Now, young man, you kindly explain why you ran away.
I didn't run away. Not at all.
No, he didn't.
There was this man who jumped out of the bushes and grabbed me. I was on my way to the old house. He took me to the fishing shack.
Do you know who he was?
No, he was talking about a boat that we were going to go on, and he had a rope. He was going to tie me up.
Oh, Daniel.
But Daniel got away. He knew where I was and he ran to me. But Mrs. Collins, a terrible thing happened.
Millicent?
That's Nathan. He mustn't find me.
No.
Millicent?
You are with the rest of them against me. Oh, Nathan, I do everything you say. But you do not tell me
Tell you what, my dear?
about Daniel.
Daniel, what about him?
He is back. But I didn't know he went anywhere.
Back. Where is he?
In the study. Unless they are hiding him. They hide people here, you know. I blame Cousin Naomi. Nathan, you're right. They determined to turn him against us.
Say he's in the study? Well, I shall have a little chat with him. With your permission, of course.
Yes, yes. You are in charge. I want it that way.
Thank you, my dear.
What do you want, Lieutenant?
I want to speak with Daniel. Is he there?
He's very tired.
Well, it won't take long.
The morning would be better.
Mrs. Collins, I have some rights. I am the boy's brother-in-law.
Yes, he is, Cousin Naomi. He has more rights than you. Why can we not see my brother?
Don't worry. I'll be with you.
Oh, it's very presumptuous of you, cousin.
Well, Daniel, my boy. Very glad to see you back.
Are you?
Well, of course I am. What kind of a question is that? I should like to hear everything that's happened to you and where you've been, although I suspect he's probably already told you.
Not enough for me to understand.
Oh? I'd like to talk to him alone. Millicent, why don't you and your cousin...
Yes, of course, Nathan. Are you coming, cousin?
Not just yet, thank you, Millicent.
What did he tell you?
A man grabbed him and took him to a deserted shack.
Oh, now, Daniel. You've quite an imagination, don't you?
It's true, he did.
Oh, and why did he do it?
He wanted to kill me. He
Dan-
tried to kill me.
Daniel.
Don't waste your sympathy, Mrs. Collins.
He caught me in the graveyard. He was strangling me. And only...
Only what? You fought him off and got away? Yes, I made up quite a few stories like that when I was your age.
He was thin and he had reddish hair. And he was taller than I, but not that
Please, Daniel,
tall.
don't describe this mythical man to us.
He had a scar on his face.
A scar?
And I suppose he had a peg leg, too, and a hook where his hand should have been.
He was dressed like a sailor.
Lieutenant Forbes, Daniel has just described that friend of yours.
Friend of mine?
That man that was here earlier, in the drawing room.
All right, then. I shall tell you why I know that Daniel is lying. The man who was here earlier, Gifford, is no friend of mine. But I sincerely regret his having come to this house tonight. He's dead as a result of it.
Dead?
Yes, I was out hunting for Daniel, and I discovered him in the graveyard. He'd been shot.
You must go to the authorities.
I have taken the murderer to them already.
You saw it happen?
Yes.
You couldn't stop it?
No,
Well, why was he killed?
because he had stumbled upon the witch. The murderer is Peter Bradford. Unless the witch is found quickly, Bradford will hang before she does. It's past time you were in bed, Millicent. Millicent, did you hear me? Look, we've got to do something about Daniel. I mean it. Your cousin Naomi is taking over. She sent him to bed and sent Stokes along to stay in the room all night as if he were in some kind of danger. You listening to me?
Oh, yes.
I think we ought to have some kind of a legal document drawn up saying that you wish him to be underneath my guardianship. What do you think of that?
There is a witch in this house.
What?
I have a feeling the witch is here.
Is it just a feeling?
He let someone in that front door.
Who let someone in?
Daniel. I didn't see who came in. I heard him talking.
Why didn't you tell me about this?
This house is filled with people who are not what they seem. I am not surprised at a witch.
Come, Millicent, I'll take you to your room.
I will not go to bed if there is a witch in the house.
If there is, I shall find it. Come now.
I'm sorry, but I wanted to be sure that Daniel was in bed and the lieutenant was in his room.
He lied.
Who?
Lieutenant Forbes, his story was a lie.
Oh, you're so tired, Victoria. We'll settle all this in the morning.
No, I have to go into the village. Peter didn't kill that man. Lieutenant Forbes was lying.
How do you know?
Because I killed him.
I don't believe you.
I wish it weren't true. I wish I never had to think it again or say it again.
Are you protecting Mr. Bradford?
No. I was in the mausoleum. Daniel ran out to get help, and suddenly I heard a scream. I ran out into the graveyard. And there was a man who had his hands around Daniel's throat. He was strangling him. I knew I had to do something. So I aimed the gun as Peter had shown me. And pulled the trigger. He fell.
You had to do it. What else could you do? Thank you for saving Daniel. But I won't let you give yourself up.
And I won't let Peter die. He's lied about Peter just the way he lied at my trial, and he'll get him convicted too. Why is he doing this to Peter? Why?
I'm not sure yet, but we'll find out.
How?
Mr. Collins will be home tomorrow. He'll know what to do. And now, you're going to sleep in my room where you'll be safe. You'll be as safe as anyone in this house. I'll go first. You follow.
You've forgotten your manners, haven't you? You're supposed to say good morning.
Good morning.
I have to talk with you. You brought Miss Winters back to the house last night, didn't you?
No.
Don't lie to me.
I'm
You
not.
never tell the truth, do you? You were lying yesterday about somebody grabbing you.
No, I wasn't. You'll see.
What do you mean, I'll see?
Nothing. I didn't mean anything.
You're lying again. I won't have it.
And I won't have you take that tone with Daniel.
Mrs. Collins, you've got to stop interfering with my disabled boy.
This is my house. In fact, you seem to forget.
I am in charge of him.
Not while I am here.
Millicent has given me
Millicent,
full...
unfortunately, can't make decisions.
You're quite wrong.
Otherwise, she'd feel the same way I do about your treatment of Daniel. And I'd even suspect it.
Suspected?
I am having the authorities investigate what happened to Daniel yesterday.
What?
Yes, he's gone into town to identify the body of the man who tried to kill him.
Nobody tried to kill him. He made all of that up.
There is a witness.
A witness who?
That is unimportant.
Well, no, it's not unimportant. Tell me.
Why are you so anxious to know? Are you worried?
Mrs. Collins, you'd be very foolish to start all of this before the return of your husband.
He would approve.
He would not like the authorities to be here.
You know my husband less well than I think.
I know him better than you do,
Nonsense.
in a way.
Nonsense.
No, Mrs. Collins. It's far from nonsense. He hasn't told you, has he?
Told me what?
About Barnabas. No, I didn't think he'd dare.
Barnabas is in England.
Oh, Mrs. Collins. Even you know that's not true.
All right. So you found out that he's dead.
No. I've discovered that he is not dead.
I won't listen to this.
Go to the tower room. Find out for yourself.
You're lying. You made this up. How can you expect me to believe you? Why would my husband keep this from me?
Because Barnabas is a murderer.
My son is dead. Now you get out of this house.
Oh, you sound just like your husband before he found out that what I'm saying is true. Your son is the strangler, Mrs. Collins. Think about that before you call in the authorities. Go to the tower room. Go on.
Thank you.